guys, it's Lindsay and welcome back to another video on my channel. Today I have an entire list for you guys of 10 oddly specific things that I really enjoy in my books. Now I already did a video on this of the 5 obscure things, weirdly specific things that I hate in books. I will link that up below, so you can go check it out because you know everyone loves negativity. I would start with that video first if it were me. I got this idea from Books and Lala. I really love her booktube channel. If you guys like booktube, definitely check her out. She does really different and unique content, and one of the concepts she came up with was to talk about very odd things that are specific to her that she likes or dislikes in literature. So I decided to make my own videos like that because I like some weird stuff. Whew, it's hot. Also, there's like a heat wave going on in the Midwest and my air conditioning is blasting, but of course not right now while I'm filming or you couldn't hear me. And the lights they're a little hot. Strips naked. Just kidding. The first oddly specific thing that I love to read about is seclusion. This is when, for whatever reason, all of the characters in your book are stuck in one specific place. I love it when it's like a scary or haunted house, but it could be really anywhere as long as they can't leave that spot. A couple good examples of books that have this in it are And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie and The Unwanted Guest. Both of these have a bunch of characters stuck in a house that they can't leave. And then a newer release that does something like this is Wilder Girls by Rory Powers, where all of these girls are quarantined on an island because of an outbreak of like this tox thing. I just love seclusion, especially if there is some reason people are dying off, like either because it's a disease or because it's like there's a murderer, particularly if there is a murderer and people are dying off one by one, but you can't escape, you're stuck. I just love it. So much tension. The second one, okay. This is weird, bear with me, but I love birth scenes. I think specifically the reason that I'm saying this is because I read A Reaper at the Gates by Saba Tahir, which is the 3rd book in her Ember in the Ashes series, and there's a birth scene in that book, and it is the most intense thing I have ever read. And it's intense not just because like there's a woman giving birth and that sucks, but there's so many other things going on at that same time that it just adds this like these incredible stakes, and it's just so scary. And I mean, like when you're in labor, that baby's coming, like you can't stop it, you can't just like grab it and suck it. Okay. The heat's getting to me. Another book that has a good birth scene in it is House of Salt and Sorrows. This is like a Crimson Peaks meets 12 Dancing Princesses, and there's another really intense birth scene again when there's a lot of other things going on and it's not the best time to be in the throes of labor. Another oddly specific thing that I love in books is the doomed lovers trope. This is really similar to the forbidden lovers trope, which is obviously where two people aren't supposed to be together, but it goes one step further and almost gives you like this sense of dread that they might actually end in tragedy. And in fact, I would say like 50% to 100% of these lovers do, because they can't be together. But when you know for whatever reason two characters just cannot be together, it makes every moment with them and every action between them that much sweeter, because you know it's gonna go away soon and they're not gonna be able to be together. And it just, it's so good. It's so good. Here is a really specific one. Magically changing objects in books. And I wrote down some examples. The Room of Requirement from Harry Potter, Morgan Crow's bedroom in that fancy hotel she stays in, and Nevermore, The Trials of Morgan Crow. And then from Caraval, Scarlet's dress that just magically changes depending on her mood or the situation. I don't know why, I just love that. I think it's so whimsical and so magical. It just adds that next bit of like oomph to your magic system. So fun. I've got to write a book one day that incorporates that idea. Number 5 is curses and or prophecies. Now this one is a little bit more vague, but I like them when they're dire or really dark or like world-ending type prophecies. All of the examples of these are my favorite books. That is The Disappearances by Emily Bain Murphy, The Spellbook for the Lost and Found by Moira Fowley Doyle, Ember in the Ashes by Saba Tahir, and then of course just Harry Potter in general. The next oddly specific thing that I love in books are murder podcasts. Now, I never thought I would really be into this because I don't listen to murder podcasts, but every book that I've read that has a murder podcast section inside of it has been like a 4.5 or 5-star read. These of course would be Sadie by Courtney Summers and I Know You Know by Gillian Macmillan. Both are just stunning, amazing, to me, nearly perfect books. I loved them. They were great. Ugh, I just love murder podcasts. What can I say? I just love murder. Number 7, I really love books that are about books. It's just such like a meta experience, especially if it's about people writing a book or people reading a book, or even if it's like people writing a book about writing a book. That's just like trippy though. Oh, is someone coming in? Ah! Oh my gosh, I was looking for Wiener. I'm so mad you just did that. I could strangle you. You just scared the crap out of me. I looked down expecting a cat and there was a grown man. Everybody out. I'm filming. Mommy's stressed. Why do you have whipped cream?
I was gonna come and spray you with it, but
I can't stand you. Just leave. God. Jesus, take the wheel. Anyway, some great examples of this are The Help by Catherine Stockett, I believe is her name, The Storied Life of A.J. Thickery, and The Land of Stories by Chris Culver. Ooh, this one is one of my favorites, and I just don't see it enough in literature, and I want more. This is when there are important characters in a story, but they are not of the age category that story has been written for. So for example, it's like when you read a YA book and a middle grade age character is a very important character, or an adult character is very important. Something I want to see more of is like elderly people in books, because to me, my grandparents and elderly people in general just had such a huge part in shaping my life that the fact that there's not a lot of YA books out there right now that are about how old people affect like teenagers' life is just crazy to me. Like, I would love to see more. Number 9 is books that kind of toe the line between, is this supernatural or is this something real and sinister? 3 really good examples of this are The Death of Mrs. Westaway, Night Books, and Dead House. Usually thriller and horror are really good at these types of things because you kind of have the, is this like demonic, supernatural, whatever, or is this actually like a psychopathic killer? And I just love when you don't know till the end. Number 10 is one of my favorites, and I really struggled with coming up with a name or a title for this category, but I love trailer trash stories. Coming from someone who is a self-proclaimed piece of trailer trash. There's something about these stories, and it's usually adult thrillers that do this. However, I feel like Sadie does fall into that category. She literally lives in a trailer and is poor and has dealt with poverty, and there's just something so gritty and raw about those types of stories that I just really find myself getting attached to and rooting for the character, because they're almost always underdogs, right? And no one wants to take them serious, and people kind of judge them because they're just like, you know, poor or trashy or mean or whatever it is. But there's just something, again, just really raw and real and attachable to those stories. Very immersive, I think, and maybe even, I guess, relatable. There's also usually a heavy discussion on things that, you know, affect poor people, like poverty, illness, drugs, crime, racism, all of those things, you know, everything that is kind of like intersectional within poverty. Usually the books somehow kind of touch on those topics, and I think that those are very interesting to discuss. Alrighty, you guys, so those are the 10 oddly specific things that I love in books. Let me know down in the comments some of the weird specific things that you guys would like to read about. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!